I'm Jake Roberts, just an average guy in a world that demands extraordinary things. I have a steady job, a loving family, and a wife who I adore. Life had been moving along without a hitch, and I never imagined anything would shake that foundation until it did. And, as life often goes, it didn't give me any warning. One evening, after wrapping up a major meeting, I was having dinner at a fancy restaurant in San Francisco. That's when my phone rang. It was Rachel, my wife. "I don't know if you remember, but today's the day I'm in LA, for my business trip," she said. Her voice was distant, filled with background noise that immediately raised my suspicions. It wasn't the sound of a quiet hotel room. I could hear laughter, music, and people chatting all around her. My stomach tightened. "Where are you right now?" I asked, my curiosity creeping in. "I'm at a party with some industry friends," Rachel replied, almost too quickly. I felt a knot form in my chest. Something wasn't right. "Wait, what's going on?" I asked, my voice betraying a hint of unease. "We met a famous TV star," she said, the words tumbling out in an awkward rush. "He came over to our table, and we talked for a bit, and he wants to use what we talked about." A cold shiver ran down my spine. "What are you talking about?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady, though my heart was already racing. "The hall pass," she said casually, as if it was something normal. "He wants me to take it. I think I'm going to do it." The words hit me like a punch in the gut. Hall pass, that thing we had joked about years ago, in the midst of friends and alcohol, as nothing more than a fantasy, something I thought we both agreed was off the table. But now, hearing Rachel say it like this, so matter-of-factly, it felt different, dangerous. "Rachel, are you serious?" My voice wavered, but I tried to keep the anger in check. "I'm not kidding, Jake," she replied, oblivious to the knot tightening in my chest. "He's really famous, and I think I want to try it." I couldn't breathe. The world around me started to feel unsteady. This wasn't the woman I married. The woman I knew would never do something like this. "Do you hear yourself?" I almost shouted. "What the hell are you thinking? You're not actually going to do this, are you?" There was a long pause. Then her voice came through, softer now, as if she was trying to make me understand. "I just need you to understand, Jake. This is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I want to see where it goes." The weight of her words crushed me. I had always promised her that fidelity would be the bedrock of our relationship, and now, she was willing to throw it all away for a fleeting thrill. "I can't hear any more of this," I said, my voice shaking with frustration. "You can't do this. You can't ruin everything we've built." And with that, I hung up. I was left in the silence of the restaurant, my mind racing, my heart heavy. I couldn't process what had just happened. I couldn't even bring myself to face the reality of it. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay there, staring at my phone, each notification from Rachel feeling like a knife twisting deeper. She had gone through with it. There was nothing I could do to stop it. The next morning, I woke up feeling like I had been hit by a truck, exhausted, confused, and angry. I tried calling Rachel again, but she didn't answer. A wave of disappointment hit me, but I pushed it down. I couldn't stay passive. I had to know the truth, even if it tore me apart. So I did something I never thought I'd do. I decided to investigate. I gathered myself, took a few deep breaths, and reached out to Jack, my close friend who had been on the trip with Rachel. Jack knew the ins and outs of the trip, and maybe, just maybe, he could give me the answers I was looking for. I needed answers, and I needed them now. When Jack picked up, he sounded surprised. "Jake, what's going on? Why are you calling me now?" "Jack, I need your help. Rachel's not answering, and I can't do this anymore. Do you know what's really happening in LA?" There was a long pause on the other end, then I heard Jack sigh. "Jake, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but if you want the truth, here it is." Rachel went with him, the guy she mentioned, Chris Knight, the TV star. My stomach dropped. Chris Knight? A name I'd seen in tabloids and heard about on the news, but now he was the man my wife had chosen to be with. The realization hit me like a wave. "Thanks, Jack," I muttered, before hanging up. A storm began to churn inside me. This couldn't be real. I couldn't just sit back and let this happen. If Rachel thought she could betray me without consequences, she was wrong. That conversation with Jack only fueled the fire. The anxiety swirled in my chest, growing stronger by the minute. I couldn't wait any longer. I had to face the truth, no matter how ugly it was. By the time Rachel came home that evening, I had everything set up. The camera was in place, and I was ready. I couldn't let this slide. I needed to confront her. even if it destroyed me. When she stepped through the door, she had that smile on her face, the one I used to love, but as soon as she saw me sitting there, her expression faltered, shifting to confusion. Jake, what's wrong? What happened? I stayed silent for what felt like an eternity, staring into her eyes. I wasn't sure what I'd see there anymore. Why did you do this, Rachel? My voice was low, controlled, though it trembled with restrained fury. She hesitated, forcing a smile. I don't understand, my love. This was just an opportunity, a once-in-a-lifetime chance. I don't care about that excuse anymore. My words were sharp, colder than I intended. You've betrayed me, Rachel, and I won't forget it. I watched her face fall, her confusion turning to something I couldn't quite read. She still didn't get it. She stood there, as if everything was still normal, but it wasn't. In my heart, everything had shattered. You can't do this to me, I said, my voice freezing over. Deep inside, a storm raged, but I refused to let her see it. You promised me fidelity. You promised we would never hurt each other like this. Rachel took a step forward, reaching for my hand. I pulled away, the space between us feeling like miles. This wasn't the woman I knew. I didn't know her anymore. Jake, please, she said, her voice trembling now. You don't understand. I just wanted to try it. Just this once. Don't try to spin this, Rachel. This isn't some experiment. This isn't a fantasy. That man you're with, he's not just some TV star. He's powerful, influential, and you're just his toy. This so-called hall pass? It's nothing but an excuse for you to justify your actions. Rachel paused, the weight of my words sinking in. Then she spoke, quieter now. You don't get it, Jake. I've felt emotionally neglected for so long. You're always busy with work, and I feel invisible, like I don't matter anymore. Her words hit me like a slap. For the first time, I saw the truth behind the betrayal. She wasn't just breaking my heart, she was telling me something I had been too blind to see. I had been so consumed by my own ambitions that I failed to notice how far we had drifted apart. But even so, nothing justified what she had done. How many more excuses are you going to make for this? I interrupted, my voice colder than ever. You've hurt me, Rachel. You've hurt this family, and you think I can just forgive you? She flinched, her eyes welling up with tears. For a moment, it looked like she might break. Jake, I love you. I don't want to lose you, she whispered, her voice breaking. Really? I almost shouted, the words bursting out of me. You love me? You love me while you sleep with another man, without a second thought about our family, about me, about our kids? The words hung in the air like a storm cloud, and I knew then, there was no going back. We had reached the point of no return. The next day, I couldn't sleep. My mind replayed the images of Rachel and Chris together over and over. I was exhausted, but I needed clarity. I couldn't keep living in this lie. I decided to turn to someone I trusted, Max, an old friend and a lawyer who had helped me through tough situations before. I needed his expertise now. When I walked into his office, he took one look at me and frowned. Jake, you don't look good. What's going on? I sat down heavily, throwing my phone on the desk. I need help. I want a divorce. Max looked at me carefully, concern flickering in his eyes. What happened? I found out my wife's been unfaithful. She went with a TV star, and I need proof, I said, my voice filled with disappointment. I can't just sit here and do nothing. Max leaned back, thinking for a moment before he spoke. I'll help you, but you need to understand this won't be easy. Rachel's not going to let this go without a fight. The next day, Max called with news. He'd found critical evidence for the case, but I knew Rachel wouldn't just give up without a battle. She'd fight to the bitter end. And then, when we stood in court, the tension was unbearable. Rachel sat across from me, her lawyer beside her, both of them exuding confidence. You have no evidence, Rachel's lawyer sneered. This is just an emotional accusation. You have no proof. I didn't respond right away. In my mind, the images of Rachel and Chris replayed like a broken record. I was ready for this fight, ready to make sure the truth came out. I had enough evidence to prove Rachel's betrayal, but I couldn't let my emotions cloud my judgment. I needed to remain rational, strong. Max stood up, breaking the silence in the courtroom. He calmly presented the evidence, a video call between Rachel and her friend, where she openly discussed her affair with Chris Knight. The room fell dead silent. Rachel's eyes widened in panic. This isn't possible, she whispered, rising from her seat, her voice trembling. You can't do this. But Max wasn't finished. He continued presenting more messages, photos from her meetings with Chris, Even a signed photo from Chris, addressed specifically to Rachel. The walls of deception crumbled around her. The truth could no longer be ignored. After the trial, I felt completely drained, physically, mentally, emotionally. This battle had never been about just dividing property or custody of the kids. It had been a battle for my soul, for every fragment of trust I once had in this woman, in the relationship we built. Returning home felt like walking into a different world. The house was eerily quiet. Rachel wasn't there. She'd gone somewhere, though I didn't know where. All I knew for sure was that my life had irrevocably changed. I sat down on the couch, staring at my wedding ring in my hand, the weight of it feeling like a foreign object. Forgiveness is impossible, I thought to myself. I won't live in lies anymore. This marriage was over. I had to move on. The next day, Rachel still hadn't come home. No calls, no notes, just the hollow silence of finality. I didn't know where she had gone, or what she was thinking, but deep down, I knew our marriage was truly over. I sat alone in the living room, lost in thought. The emptiness around me mirrored what I felt inside. No more late-night talks, no more smiles or shared glances, no more of what we once had. I couldn't bear the thought of my kids witnessing the collapse of their family, so I sent them to stay with their grandparents. I would shield them from this pain for as long as I could. They'd have to face the truth someday, but not today. For days after, Rachel didn't reach out. No texts, no calls, and I didn't reach out to her, either. But I couldn't stop thinking about her. I couldn't shake the image of the woman I had loved so completely, now reduced to someone I barely recognized. Then, one night, I got a call. It was Rachel's mother. "Jake, son, can you come over? Rachel needs to talk to you." A tight knot formed in my stomach. "Where is she?" I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. "She's here, at my house. She hasn't said much, but I think you should come. She wants to apologize." A strange mix of doubt and curiosity stirred inside me. Was she truly sorry, or was this just an attempt to salvage her reputation? I wasn't sure, but I knew I had to see her, one last time. When I arrived at Rachel's mother's house, my heart raced. I walked in and saw her sitting on the couch, her face tear-streaked and pale. The air was thick with tension, with unspoken words hanging between us. "Jake, I don't know what to say," Rachel whispered, her voice raw with emotion. "I know I was wrong. I can't forgive myself." I looked at her, feeling a strange ache in my chest. "Rachel, do you think you can just say some words and erase everything you've done? You've destroyed everything. This family, my trust, everything." She lowered her head, tears falling freely. "You don't understand, Jake," she said, her voice breaking. "I love you, I really do, but I was wrong. I was wrong to think I could survive in a marriage where I felt neglected. I felt invisible." Her words stung, but they didn't change the truth I had been avoiding. I stayed silent for a moment, gathering myself. "If you loved me, why did you do this?" I wanted to ask, but I already knew the answer. "If you loved me, why didn't you talk to me?" I said instead, my voice shaking. "Why didn't you come to me when you felt this way? Why go outside our marriage to fill that emptiness?" She wiped away her tears, struggling to find the right words. I know I can't justify it, but I was desperate. I felt forgotten, pushed aside, and when Chris came along, I felt seen, desired, loved. For the first time in years, I felt alive. Her words pierced through me, but they didn't change anything. I knew what she had done, and no explanation could undo it. "Rachel, you say you love me, but your actions speak louder than your words," I replied, standing up. "I can't live in a relationship without trust. You've broken that trust. You've broken us. I'll do anything, Jake," she pleaded, her voice cracking. "Anything. Just don't leave me. Don't leave our family." But I had nothing left to give. "You lost everything, Rachel. You destroyed it yourself. Don't ask me to forgive something you don't even fully understand." Without another word, I turned and walked out of the house, leaving her alone in her tears. When I got home, everything felt alien. The silence was overwhelming. The emptiness of the house mirrored the emptiness I felt inside. The weight of betrayal hung heavy in the air. I couldn't find the words to describe the feeling of being broken, of having someone you trusted completely tear apart everything you had built. But one thing was clear, I couldn't live like this anymore. This relationship had ended long before the court papers were signed. A few days later, I met with Max again. We began the divorce process, and this time, there would be no hesitation, no second guessing. I couldn't live in the shadow of lies anymore. Even though it hurt, I knew what I had to do. On a quiet, calm afternoon, I sat in the lawyer's office, watching as the paperwork was prepared. A mix of grief, relief, and freedom washed over me. Then Rachel called. I didn't answer. There was nothing left to say. As I looked around, I noticed the way people saw me differently: friends, family, strangers. They'd never fully understand what I'd been through. But the truth was, the cost of this battle was high. Divorce wasn't just the end of a relationship, it was a transformation. I had to face pain. I had to face myself. I had to face the truth. And in the end, I walked out, not just alone, but free.